I think AGI is many, many years away, possibly decades away. To me, I think of it as something like an AI system that's capable of automating most of the tasks that people do in the economy today. And of course, if AGI were built, it would be completely transformative for society and for every country's economy. When we talk about the generative AI systems behind chatbots, they are trained from text on the web, and then there's a little bit of a post-training step. But after that, when they're chatting with users, there's no learning going on. And this is something that people often have misconceptions about.
There's been a lot of conversation recently about artificial general intelligence, which is pretty much the definition says it's going to be smarter than the AI that we already use. Do you think AGI as a technology is ready for the real world, and are we as humans are ready to accept it amongst us?
I think AGI is many, many years away, possibly decades away. It's hard to predict exactly what the timeline will be, but we have thought deeply about where AI technology is now and what is required to reach AGI, which to me, I think of it as something like an AI system that's capable of automating most of the tasks that people do in the economy today. And of course, if AGI were built, it would be completely transformative for society and for every country's economy. However, there are just very serious limitations in today's AI systems for which we don't really have good ideas on how to overcome them. It's going to require scientific breakthroughs. It's going to require multiple scientific breakthroughs. Here is just one simple example. When we talk about the generative AI systems behind chatbots, they are trained from text on the web, and then there's a little bit of a post-training step. But after that, when they're chatting with users, there's no learning going on. And this is something that people often have misconceptions about. So it is true that AI companies want our data and they are trying to train AI systems using that data, but that learning is not happening in an ongoing, flexible way, in the way that any person, even a child, can learn as we interact with the world around us. So that's a big difference between current AI and human intelligence. It's kind of static. It happens during this massive training process that goes on in data centers as opposed to in everyday conversations. So that means that the flexibility of AI today is very limited. I can list a bunch of other limitations, but we need new technical ideas to overcome these limitations before we get anywhere close to AGI or artificial general intelligence.
In a broader perspective, is it worrying that we are so willing to cede control to technology?
I think we should be very careful. I think at every stage we should ask what is the right amount of control that we want to cede, if you will, to technology. And when we look at the past, we have had to make those careful decisions in every domain. So in aviation, for instance, right, we have autopilot. Autopilot is a very successful technology, but it's only very successful because we have acknowledged that in normal situations, autopilot can largely do better than human pilots. But we also know that in some exceptional situations, autopilot doesn't have the kind of common sense, flexible thinking that is required to recover from difficult situations that might be encountered during flight. And so we've had to develop rules for when it's okay to use autopilot and when the human pilots need to take back control. So we need to go through that kind of exercise in every single domain in which we are putting AI into operation. And if we don't, then we are risking potentially catastrophic failures.
At this point, I would like to inform our viewers that Professor Arvind has been closely tracking what tracks us on the internet, the World Wide Web as we know it. In a paper a few years ago, you wrote about the long tail of tracking. So how much of a soup do we find ourselves in now with, as consumers, with how much we're allowing ourselves to be tracked on the internet? And is there really any escape from this now?
So this is happening primarily because of the online advertising industry. When we use apps on our phone, when we browse websites on our computers, we might think that we're interacting with a particular app or with a particular website, but hidden behind that app or website are sometimes dozens of other companies that are essentially making notes of everything that we do online, and this is being used to tailor ads to us and for various other commercial purposes. Yes, the state of affairs is pretty bad. So we've also looked at, in some other research, we've looked at smart TVs, for instance. So TVs are now essentially becoming just like computers or phones. And so everything we might do on these smart TVs is also being tracked. And then that is being linked to what we do on our mobile phones and other personal devices. However, I think in the last few years, there have actually been some improvements, both improvements in terms of regulation and improvements in terms of technology. So, for instance, browsers now have anti-tracking features. Apple, for instance, has an ability to opt out, allow consumers to opt out of app tracking. And I do think we should make use of these features. If we take a few minutes to change our privacy settings, we can make a big difference to the amount, the extent to which we're tracked online. Every app that we use has a privacy setting screen. And I like to, maybe just take a few minutes a week when I'm using my apps to go in there and see if all the settings are what I'm comfortable with. So I think we do have a lot of control over the situation, and we should take advantage of that.
In fact, you mentioned the measures that Apple has implemented recently, and from my personal experience, I can kind of verify that a lot of social media platforms now don't have that recent information that probably Safari has cordoned off very nicely. They're still relying on much older information that they have for targeted ads. But in your what's your take in terms of all the claims that big tech companies are making that fine, we are fighting against users being tracked online? Is it enough, and what else do they need to do?
I think the actions by companies are not going to be enough. So we're seeing an interesting Silicon Valley versus Silicon Valley dynamic. When a company like Apple, for instance, as the device maker, they want to track our activities as much as possible, but they will try to prevent websites or apps from tracking us through Safari or through the iOS app tracking transparency feature. And so this is an interesting contradiction, if you will, but you can understand what is going on. I think there is both a competitive aspect to Apple's behavior and to the behavior of other companies. They want to do as much tracking by themselves. They don't want other companies to track as much. But also, I do think it does genuinely improve privacy. That's certainly not going to be enough. We need to keep the pressure up on companies. As individuals, we can take a lot of steps, and I think we should also keep pushing for regulation on this.